Just today, I would like to invite you to create a gratitude kit using your senses. Our senses, again, as we talked about this morning in the meditation, are such a powerful resource for us. They can be helpful for grounding us when we're feeling overwhelmed. They can be helpful for enriching an experience, and they can be helpful for guiding us into something that's enjoyable and pleasurable. A lot of people are not aware of the things that bring them joy or bring them pleasure, and that's because if we don't consciously and intentionally focus on that, a lot of that gets filtered out. Right? We are aware of things that maybe are aversive or uncomfortable for us, but quite often when I explore with people what does bring them joy, what do they enjoy, what do they like, what nourishes them, what rejuvenates them, these are questions that sometimes are challenging for people to answer. So this activity is all about exploring that. If you already know what those things are that bring you joy and that feel good and nourish and rejuvenate you, fabulous. If you don't, these are some tips to help you discover that. So we can use our senses to explore, right? What are the smells that you enjoy? For me, I really love using essential oils, and I often will put these into a diffuser. I may put them in the bath. I may mix them in with like Epsom salts to put that in the bath. You can mix them in with body lotion, hand lotion. There's so many different things that we can do. One of my favorites is the doTERRA. It's basically an emotional aromatherapy kit, and there's one in there called Console that I particularly like. Now, again, it's not going to be the same for everyone. Some people really don't enjoy that one, but there's a nice set that I find is quite appropriate and fitting for the work that we do at our center. When we look at sites, it's being familiar with what do you enjoy looking at? What do you have a sense of appreciation for when you look at it? Whether that's art, fine art, or nature, whatever that may be that you enjoy seeing. It could be pictures, but explore that a little bit and figure out what are some of your favorite things to look at, things that do give you that sense of appreciation and gratitude when you look at them. I think this is particularly relevant at this time as many people are feeling oversaturated with violence. And I think part of balancing that is being mindful of what are the things that also bring us joy. So if we're going to watch the news and that's activating, how can I build in something that's going to be visually or sensorily soothing for me to shift that affective state afterwards? We can also use resource installation, and this is such an incredible resource for us in the sense that our brain doesn't differentiate whether a resource is truly with us or whether we are imagining this or creating this. So for example, if you call to mind a favorite place that maybe you're sad that you can't visit right now, taking that place in with your senses and really allowing yourself to immerse yourself in that experience. And I think I posted earlier a guided visualization of relaxation place. So that's exactly what that practice is. But we know that taking that in with our senses has the physiological effect on our body as though we are there in that space. So, same with connection with loved ones. I know there are many people who are missing loved ones that they're not able to see at this time, but we can take that experience, if we just invite that thinking part of our brain that wants to say, yeah, but that's not happening, to scoot, right? And we just allow ourselves to be in the body and be in the experience. I can visualize, and I do this with my grandmother, who I was so close to, who's passed. I can visualize her presence, right? I can imagine what it was like to be wrapped up in her hug. I can take that in and I can even imagine the smell of her. The more sensory rich that I make that, the richer the experience tends to be. And it's such a beautiful gift. And I find that in moments when I'm really missing her, that's precisely what I'll do. I'll settle into, seeing her facial expression, seeing how she would look at me with those loving eyes, imagining being wrapped up in that nice, big, comforting hug and breathing in the smell of her. It's so incredibly heart expansive and soothing for me. So knowing, that even though people may not be with us right now, or even though people may no longer be living, that we're an important part of our life, we can still take those elements of those relationships and those people and allow ourselves to experience that. Dr. Laura Parnell, in her book Tapping In, teaches people how to do resource installation using bilateral stimulation. And she would just invite you to have a really good sense of those qualities and characteristics, right, of that person that you were connected with, or the animal, or the element in nature. And when it feels good and solid for you, then we can just tap that in. Right, and the tapping is really just intended to promote integration. So again, increasing the connection between that right brain emotional felt state with that left brain logic and meaning making. So it increases the integration between hemispheres, but also just deepens our experience and makes it more readily available. I often find with people, they will say, you know, it brings it from up here in our thinking brain to down here into our body, and really helps us embody the experience. Sounds, right? What do you enjoy the sound of? What do you like to listen to? I love, there's so many sounds, but I love the sound of the ocean waves, or waves in general. But in particular, what I often see when I think of sounds is, you know, the ocean rolling in and rolling out, or coming in when the waves are a little bit bigger and colliding with the cliffs, right? Music as well, right? Know what music is heart expansive for you. What do you enjoy listening to? What brings you joy? Knowing those songs and being able to create even a gratitude playlist or a joy playlist, such a wonderful blessing to offer yourself, especially on those days when things maybe are feeling you know, more bleak, or you're just needing that little extra boost. Tastes. What do you enjoy tasting? So it could be a beautiful tea. You know, I love, there's a hibiscus passion tea that I really enjoy, and my friend makes a homemade hibiscus tea. Beautiful. I know that I really enjoy the taste of that, and it's a treat. Generally, when I'm having a tea, it means I'm pausing for presence, I'm enjoying it, I'm taking it in with my senses, and I'm doing some self-care at that time. So have a sense of what are those flavors, those tastes that are nourishing for you. I'm quite grateful that my husband is a chef, so there are too many things that taste good for me to count, because everything he makes tastes really delicious. For taste, you know, one thing we want to keep in mind is there are so many incredible flavors, but we in Niagara region are so blessed. We have all of these farms and naturally occurring resources here. And I think anytime we have the opportunity to support local farmers and local growers, and engage in the resources that are here, it supports the community, but also the food and the flavors are always that much richer when they're fresh. Right? Such a blessing that we have such an abundance of fresh resources available to us locally, from fruits to vegetables, to, you know, the beautiful flowers, which come with scents as well as the sights, right? Textures would be knowing what are the things that you enjoy, either touching, holding with the palm of your hands, touching with your hands, your feet, right? Or just feeling around you. One of my favorite sensations is walking outside and feeling the fresh air kind of connecting with my skin, particularly my face. I just find it so grounding and such a beautiful shift. Sometimes when I'm stuck inside, I really enjoy like misting. So it's multi-sensory, but as these little kind of particles of water and essential oils or whatever it is that I'm misting into the air hit my face, again, I find it grounding, but so enjoyable because I love the smell. I'm picking something that I know that I enjoy the smell of. This particular one is a blend of Palo Santo oil, sandalwood, and lavender. So beautiful, naturally occurring smells to try to deepen our experience. So if it's taking off our shoes and allowing our feet to settle into the sand and just noticing the texture, but also the temperature. If we, you know, kind of shift our feet a little bit deeper in the sand, does the temperature change? Which do I prefer? So it's just kind of that awareness of what are these things that feel good for you. So the idea would be to take some of these things that you know bring you gratitude and create a resource kit or a custom gratitude kit that you can turn to and use when you need a little bit of nourishment or a little bit of joy or just a little break even from the day. This will build on one of our future activities that we'll talk about shortly and may help with giving more ideas because ideally we want to just keep accumulating those little gifts that give back to us and that nourish us and bring us joy. I do hope this has been helpful for you. I would love to hear from some of you in the comment boxes below just about what are some of the things that you've discovered that bring you joy. What are some of the things that you enjoy exploring and appreciating with your senses? It's always so wonderful to hear from others because what you enjoy, what I enjoy, and what others enjoy are going to be different. But there may also be some great ideas for other people. So I've shared some of the things that I like, but there's so many other resources and things out there. So it's just about exploring that. And the more that we can hear from others, the better.